Libra, you got here before me. Well done you. Great to see you again. Great to see my subscribers. This is your Libra May 2020, that'll do it, reading. And it's my pleasure to be providing it to you. Of course, Libra, I've done some private readings for some of you, haven't I, over the last month? Good to get to know you better that way. And of course, if you'd like to have your own private reading, just check out the description box and you can take it from there. It'll be quite straightforward and show you how easy it is. Now, here we go. This month in May for Libra, we are going to take first what I would call it's not an oracle card, it's what I call a shadow card, because it often is one that can direct into the shadow self and into the shadow energies. And that is what? May as well use there it is. Surprise, which is good. The shadow self is not something to be afraid of. It's a part of us. We have a light and a dark side, and the shadow side, there's nothing malevolent or bad about it. It just is, as the name implies, something that the light normally doesn't shine on. So it's there, but it's very often just not seen, although it makes us up. Now, I'm going to use a tarot deck, which I obtained from a lady in San Francisco, an artist. I like her work, and I thought what would be interesting would be a tarot deck from her, and this is what I do have as a result of that. And I find the imagery quite appealing. There's the moon. The artwork on it is, a lot of it's done, it looks like in watercolor. Now, I'm not normally a watercolor type of a guy. I like oils and stuff like that, even some modern art, I have to say. Although modern art, that's the moon, there's the two of discs. Modern art that actually has some structure to it, not like it's done by a 7-year-old or me, for example, which would just, well, I could do an attempt at what I might call modern art, but actually it would just be garbage. And because sadly I don't have an artistic bone in my body. There's the 7 of Staves. Now this is coming out, so let's have a look. I'm just looking at it here. It's the 2 of Staves. Staves, very interesting. They look alive, these things. They look alive. What's this one for you? There's the 8 of Cups. Now, I'm also going to use 3 playing cards. Now, probably the last time I'll use playing cards for a while. Next month, I think I might use the Thoth Tarot deck. Now, the Thoth deck has an enormous amount of very deep and interesting esoteric and mystical symbology in it. It was painted by an Englishwoman by the name, it's a 7 of Spades, an Englishwoman by the name of Lady Frida Harris, at the direction of the guy, well, he's not really an occultist, but he was somebody who was into ancient Egyptian religion, into mystical Kabbalah, and well, what you might call practical magic, I suppose. A guy by the name of Aleister Crowley. He sort of gave her the general idea of what would happen, and she would then go and paint, you know, maybe 3 versions of something, and they'd discuss it, and they'd choose one of them as to what was going to end up in the deck. Anyway, that's for next time. And there's the King of Hearts. So the King of Diamonds, the King of Hearts, and the 7 of Spades. Excellent. Well, why don't you come and sit down next to me? We'll have a good close look at these cards together, and I'll do the reading for you. All right, Libra, let's have a look at this first card that is here, and it is Surprise. Now, interesting, hey? Surprise. Well, I think that when something unexpected occurs, you are surprised. Now, those feelings of a good surprise are, of course, wonderful, leaving you with tingly sensations very often. And because they are so unexpected, we are often humbled and thankful to have the experience. Surprises don't need to be materialistic, though. A surprise can simply be an unexpected outcome that occurs, which impacts positively on you or a situation. It can be finding friendship, solace, and laughter at an event or a situation that was totally unexpected. I think what you should be doing is preparing for something wonderful to happen to you. It will come out of the blue and be totally unexpected. You feel it has been a long time since something good has happened to you, I think. But, you can easily forget that and forget the times when things were good and life was going well. You have been through some challenging times of late, haven't you? And probably have forgotten how to enjoy yourself. Most importantly, you have struggled to see positive sides of things, and this has kept you in the doldrums. When this surprise arrives, enjoy the feelings associated with it, and remember, it was not the surprise that you need, but more the awareness and connectedness to the feelings that are associated with the fun of surprises. Well, that's my take on that card. You may have a different view yourself. Let's have a look at this card. It came out first, the Moon. All right, Moon card, what do you have to say? You've come up in the first position. You've got the Two of Staves there. There's another two diagonally opposite you, and the Eight of Cups on the same line as you. Well then, in that situation, I think that I see the astrology then as being Neptune in Pisces with Venus exalted. This is the ruler of the flux and reflux, the child of the sons of the mighty. Pisces, Neptune in Pisces. Pisces is very much associated with the subconscious, with emotions, with intuition, and with artistry. This is, for me, the last of the major arcana cards that I would attribute a zodiacal sign to, at least in my system. But we have Neptune in Pisces. Well, Neptune's watery depths are associated with dreams, visions, and the imagination, which links it in very well, I think, with the qualities of the Moon. Now, I think that this suggests a time when something in your life is not as it appears to be. Is it reality, or is it an illusion? A situation may be deceiving. It may be presenting a certain front, but that front does not reflect what is behind it. Now, you may feel that you are lost or unsure of which way to go at the moment, like as if you were in an outer suburb and it was dark and you found yourself in a situation where there were no signposts and you didn't know which way to go. Now, very often in this position, the energy represents the shadow self, the subconscious, your subconscious or your hidden self. And maybe there is some negativity boiling away beneath the surface that you have suppressed or you may not even be aware of. And I think that now is the time where there is a need to release this destructive energy. Now, in my experience over the years, I've found with this card and this particular type of spread that this can often relate to feelings from childhood which have been repressed and which are having a negative impact on a current situation. There's sort of a lack of clarity or a deception. I do think, however, that you will find that you have increased psychic awareness during this period. You have heard, really, with this, I think, the call of the unknown. You are on the threshold of new experience.
pay attention now to the voice of your heart and scrutinize calmly and carefully the offers and the assistance and guidance that people may be prepared to provide to you. I do think that this for you is also a time when you can really be having breakthrough, where you can uncover that truth that was there. You uncover a truth and you know what to do. Things do then become clear. I'm going to look on the same line, the Eight of Cups. And let's see what this Eight of Cups has to say for us. There you go. Well, in one sense, I'm not surprised to see this character here for me represents the Lord of abandoned success. Here we can see the fish swimming away from the character, one of the cups of the eight, empty and placed down, and the other 7 cups all pouring on top of him. But look at the light. Look at the light, the golden light of the divine. It is as if this card is saying to you, you didn't think that I forgot about you, did you? How could I? You are my beloved, and I am always with you. The astrology of this card is, I think where it's placed, Saturn ruling the first decan of Pisces. So I've got this Pisces line across here again. Saturn in the first decan of Pisces, that 19th to the 28th of February or the 29th of February as it would have been this year. Now, Saturn has a sense of structure and organization, discipline associated with it. It's about bringing you on track to ensure that you are following the path that leads to your highest good, but it can often come across as being a sort of a heavy energy, almost like a lead balloon going over. Whereas Pisces, and I see the fish symbolizing Pisces here, Pisces is intuitive, and it's into spirituality, fantasy, and it's a deeply emotional sign. I see here also with the number 8, numerologically, the planet of Mercury, the messenger of the gods, that androgynous being, neither male nor female, which is about communication. That's quite flighty very often. So Saturn in Pisces, well, Saturn completely deadens the waters of Pisces. Saturn dominates and suffocates the joy of Pisces, and there's also the flightiness of Mercury present in the card, so I say. So the overall influence for one resembles dark Saturn with no growth. Now, Pisces is the sign, and I have Mercury here. Well, Mercury is also in detriment in Pisces, so the good qualities of Mercury that one would ordinarily find, they're held back in Pisces. So we have a conflict here as well. It means that you may then be feeling lethargy, melancholy, giving up on things, choosing to leave things. But I'll also remind you, if I may, that this number 8 for me talks about manifestation, practicality, skill, and decision. The ability of you to make a decision at this time. A decision which is good for your emotional well-being. Emotional blocks may be around. Really you feel like you're, in a sense, wading through a swamp. It's almost the feeling that you get when, if you've been to a party the night before and you've had a lot to drink, well, that's how you feel. And you know how you feel the next day? Well, that's kind of how you feel now, except that the night before didn't occur. You feel as if, I think that there could be, for a moment, stagnation in your life with no interest in friends or personal projects. It's as if there's a feeling of a sort of self-martyrdom that's occurring here, where you are denying yourself pleasure. You may feel that you have a lack of effort or lack of get up and go, which may be a reaction to feeling empty in your life, or feeling that there isn't anything that is fulfilling you, the feeling of being overtired or drained, depleted, exhausted. There is a tendency to overgive, I think, which may be the problem here, where you overgive because you are a very giving person and overextending yourself. So it's a warning card, I think, not to overextend yourself to the point of exhaustion. And there may well be the need to set limits with a Pisces person here. Do you know, it's not all doom and gloom, because there is for me what I call a center of consciousness, what some people would call an angel, and the angel's name is Raahel. That is one of the 72 names of God, which is derived from chapter 14 of the book of Exodus in the Old Testament. And I'm drawn also to the book of Psalms from that same Old Testament, and that name substitutes for the word of Lord in chapter 16, verse 5 of the book of Psalms, which says, "The Lord is my allotted share and portion, you control my fate." Now, meditating on that verse, Psalms 16, verse 5, you will find that with every step you take and each moment that passes, you will feel comfort, confidence, and a stronger sense of direction. There's that moon and that 8 of cups there. Now, I'm going to go to the center energy now, because this is kind of along the same theme here. Now have a look at this woman. Here she is, floating, really, isn't she, above this, well, I imagine there's a blue sea there. Maybe she's a queen. She has the headdress of a queen upon her. And look at those staves. This is otherwise known as the suit of wands. And those staves are growing up out of the sea as a result of seeds that she had previously planted. So she's suspended above the new life that she has created. The things that she has created are pushing her forward. The astrology here is Mars in the 3rd decan of Leo, the 13th of August to the 22nd of August. She is the lady of valor. And she's in the suit of fire, staves or wands. And this number 7 here, for me, mystically, has associated with it the planet of Venus. Now, the energy of the suit is fire, but at the 7, this far down and away from the ace, the energy starts to dissipate. And we also have the feminine energy of Venus from the number 7 for me coming into the card. And so harmony doesn't exist. You see also that the feminine energy of Venus does not sit well with the energy of Mars. You recall I said that I had Mars in the 3rd decan of Leo. Now you might think that it is really only your Mars energy which is keeping you going in relation to a situation. You feel like perhaps you are fighting a losing battle. Now, for me, Mars in Leo usually indicates someone acting with authority and power. But with this energy here in the position of the card where it is in the spread with the other cards around it, being these staves, and in particular with these 2 cards above it that we have just discussed, I think that you are going to have to dig deep and use all of your resources in a very difficult situation. And there is the chance, not now because you're aware of it, there is the chance that you could have otherwise lost focus and engaged in some sort of desperation in the way that you are acting. But this is really about courage and daring and impact, taking risks, no compromises. It's about you pushing through obstacles and having the ability to push through obstacles. It's fantastic. Now, as I say, it's possible that with relation to something you could feel as if you're fighting a losing battle, and that it's only your real courage that's keeping you going, or that you might feel, because she's feeling as if she's somehow getting entangled in these staves here, perhaps you feel that you haven't been dealt the best hand, and so even these things in the background here are impeding you. You may even feel as if you're on a sinking ship. Now, sometimes this can relate to a relationship problems where you're running out of energy and ideas about how to keep sustaining the relationship. Now, that doesn't just have to mean a romantic relationship. It could mean a friendship. It could mean a relationship that's at work or in a social situation. But where it is related to work, you might feel as if you are coming to the end of your tether in relationship to something. Be true to yourself, right? That includes standing up for your own truth, even in the face of immense resistance. Trust in your power because you have it at this time. In this present situation, you must assert yourself at all costs. Now, are you ready to accept all the consequences? Become aware of whatever fears have prevented you until now from asserting yourself. And say this to yourself: I express my own reality openly and honestly. Where shall we go? We shall go to the Two of Staves, shall we? Or Two of Discs, rather. Now, that sort of soul-searching and that digging deep is going to pay results for you. Because here, well, let's look at the imagery first of all. Here we have a young man who I assume is the Prince of Discs, really looking at himself, really looking at a physical manifestation of himself in the form of this horse. And here, I suppose, is his sister, the princess, is building this tree, and it looks like she's grown another couple of arms, something like a Hindu goddess there. This is the Lord of harmonious change. It is Jupiter ruling the first decan of Capricorn, the 23rd of December to the 2nd of January. This is really about you going with the flow, I think. The change is bringing about balance, and you are going to be feeling much better. There is movement and flux, having some ups and downs, going through change. I see you multitasking and having quite a lot on your plate. And but I see that you'll actually be enjoying what you do. And this will be a welcome change, won't it? And it's going to be bringing, these things that you're doing are going to be bringing you into a different place. Now, Jupiter in Capricorn, although that is potentially inharmonious, because Jupiter is all about expansion, and Capricorn is kind of about, conservatism and practicality. Because we are at the 2 here, and we're just behind the ace in the suit, it all works out okay. There's no problems. This is a very good time for you. I think really what we're going to see here is that you will have to learn to go with the flow in your life and trust in the process of change so that you can find harmony and balance. It's not the time to be a revolutionary, I don't think, at present. I think there's constant changes in fortune can, however, sometimes make things difficult to get off the ground, but don't be disheartened by that. There's nothing financially or materially set in stone at the moment. Right? And this is reminding you to make sure that also that your day-to-day affairs are in order. This is very much a card of good management of your practical affairs and finances. Now, I know it sounds like a drag, but getting on top of bills and chores is kind of as important as in pursuing the more enjoyable activities that you would involve yourself in. You know, your life is subject to a constant change which allows you to grow, extending and expanding you, ultimately enriching you. Give yourself up to the transformation with trust. And have this thought in mind: I trust in the harmony of my life and in the flow of my life. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Well, let's conclude the tarot section with this card, the Two of Staves. Again, the two very close to the ace, so very good energy here. Here we have a lady. Well, she's got the shoes of a dancer, a ballet dancer here, suspended as if in slow motion, in space above two staves. Beautiful here. This is a symbol for the ability to see beyond space and time, to see into the other realm. Well, she is the Lady of Dominion. And I really think that what this is it's Mars ruling the first decan of Aries. This is really good because Mars is in its own sign when it's in Aries. We have here the situation where you might be dominating another or a situation, really putting your stamp on it, where you're not satisfied with your lot in a way, and you focus your intent on things. Now, the planet Mars here, the bearer of dynamic, active powers, is in his own sign in Aries, the pioneer who constantly seeks new ways and methods of advancement. The drive forward finds new directions. I think you're becoming overcome by boldness, if I can put it that way. Overcome by courage, fierceness, and, dare I say it, a little element of shamelessness. You will be quite generous and proud, but there's also a certain amount of revenge and resolution associated with you. This is suggesting that your will is beginning to rebel against its predisposed boundaries, come hell or high water. You will be using your willpower to break through stagnant situations and remove long-standing blocks. And it is a time to act. Act on instinct at that time and what you believe to be right without overthinking the situation. You will have powers of dynamic leadership ability and energy which are building up within you. Pay attention to centering as well. If you are in contact with your center, you are certain to master any situation. Trust your energy, don't go for any false compromises, and ask yourself which tasks and situations are a challenge for you. If you are in a challenging situation, sit down upright and comfortably. Breathe deeply into your abdomen. Wait until your breathing flows gently and calmly and you feel quite relaxed. Now visualize the situation at hand and see yourself dealing with it while remaining centered. And have this thought in mind: I find the strength I now need. I have the strength I now need in my own center. Now let's have a quick look at these playing cards and some meanings that they can have. Here's the Seven of Spades. Look, the seven is internalizing things. It's about introspection. It's about thoughts. This is almost, in a respect, a card of removal. It represents the uncovering of a truth. Actually, weren't we also talking about the uncovering of a truth when we were looking at this moon card here? And once you know something, you can't unknow it. There could be a removal or a loss of some kind, but I don't think it's anything that's going to be of a concern to you. Be careful of advice you are given, because the advice could lead to loss. And there may well be the loss of a relationship or a friendship, or quarrels with friends or others, so avoid arguments with others. I don't think there's anything here that's going to be dramatic in respect of those things for you. Now here we have the King of Diamonds. Now the first thing I'll say about the King of Diamonds is this is really the card of capitalism, I think. So it's suggesting that I think it's a male, and it's someone who I think is actually probably quite good at business. It may also be a foreigner. You may be dealing with a foreigner, someone who lives overseas, or a foreigner or someone born overseas who lives around where you live. Generally a successful businessman, or one who has his own business, a powerful, sharp, perspective and shrewd man, mature and distinguished. So he's going to be around about your age or older, but he can be very vain. No, God forbid that men should ever be vain, but it's true. Now sometimes I've seen it referring to a military man, so that is a possibility. And then we come to the King of Hearts. Well, the King of Hearts generally, to me, I think relates really to a lover or to a spouse. Very often a family member is what I'm getting with it. It's a man with the ability to do something good for you, and someone who probably will be doing something good for you. It can also refer to the conception of a child, so you may well hear about pregnancy during this period. And it's a man who I think also can be given to, notwithstanding his ability to do good things, and is generally an all-round good guy, he can be given to rash judgments. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, there we go, May 2020, and I really enjoyed doing that reading for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Do you know you were fantastic during that reading, as you always are? And the only thing that's left for me to say really is this, and that is that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, bye for now.